First of all, competition from foreigners. I think many Singaporeans accept the economic logic that the economy needs these foreigners, but they fear the impact on them. What if a foreigner takes my job? What if my own wages get pushed down? I understand this, I empathize, and in fact, we take measures to help to protect Singaporeans. For example, as I explained in Chinese just now, we don't allow the foreigners to come in uncontrolled because otherwise we will be swamped. And we restrict the foreign workers through dependency ratios, through the foreign worker levies, so that when you hire a foreigner, the employer pays an extra foreign worker levy to discourage him from hiring the foreigner and look for a Singaporean instead. The levies are going up, they are going to go up further, and I think they'll have to go up further beyond that in the longer term, or maybe the not so long term. I think some employers may feel the pinch, but it is necessary because we need to manage the inflow and not have an indefinite number. On the other side, we have workfare, which helps low-income Singaporeans, so that when they work, they get a top-up to their wage from the government. And that makes it more worth their while to work and improves what they receive, and overall, they end up better off compared to the foreigner who gets no workfare. This year, we're going to spend $400 million on workfare, giving it to 400,000 Singaporeans. That's a lot of money, and I think it's a lot of help to our lower income group. But the protection can only go so far. If you lack the skills or you're not competitive, then it doesn't matter how high the foreign worker levy is or how generous the workfare is, the jobs are still going to go elsewhere. Just like Vancouver could take jobs from Redmond, so too many countries can take jobs from Singapore. And we have to understand that. I've discussed this question with the union leaders regularly, and they understand the logic. They were more worried a few years ago when the flows were growing and they were not sure of the impact on Singapore workers. But now their members are quite convinced that their companies benefit from being able to hire foreign workers. And the union leaders say, yes, it's not an issue with my workers because they understand that the foreigners and the Singaporeans complement each other. And at the firm level, within each of the companies, the foreigners and the Singaporeans workers work well together. They gave me this rather nice example of workers in one hotel, where the housekeeping department employs both locals and foreign workers. And the locals are the aunties, the more experienced ones, and the foreign workers are the younger ones. And the aunties treat the foreign workers like their own daughters or nieces. So when they arrive in Singapore, they help to orientate them, even help them to cook or unpack, or pack their food for them. And the heavier physical tasks like turning over mattresses, younger foreign workers will be able to do. And between the two, they've worked out a good working relationship and become firm friends. So much so that when one of the foreign workers applied for PR, the supervisor and the union rep both asked the management to assist in the PR application. I'm not sure whether she succeeded, but it shows that the unions and the employers and the workers are getting on well, which I think is very important. The second worry of Singaporeans is whether the new arrivals will integrate into our society. Will they identify with Singapore? Will they grow roots here? After all, they speak and dress differently, their social norms are different, and they may speak no English or very little English. So it's harder to fit in and communicate, particularly with the non-Chinese. We encourage the immigrants to learn English. Our community centers will offer basic English courses, and I think if they come and pick up a few words, this proficiency will help them to integrate and therefore become more ready for permanent residence or citizenship later on, should they apply for it. But more important, between language or social graces, the immigrants have to get along with the different communities here, different races here, and adopt our egalitarian norms. This is a multiracial society. Our Chinese are used to getting along with Malays and Indians. Our Indians are used to getting along with Tamil, with Malays and with Chinese. The immigrant Chinese who come, the immigrant Indians who come, may not be used to this. And it takes some time for them to adjust, but they should make the effort. Some of them have gotten along fine. We have foreign workers now working as bus drivers in SBS. I asked the CEO, how does it get along? And he said, well, it's not bad. They sometimes get flack, but sometimes it works out very well. And he gave me an example of Ms. Zhao Xiaodong, who comes from Dalian. And she's the bus captain of Service 109, from Serangoon Interchange to Changi Village, going through Pasir Ris. And she's well liked by her passengers, especially the Pasir Ris residents. So at one point she had to go away for a week. Several of the commuters wrote to SBS. They said, what's happened to our bus driver? She's polite, she's caring, she's considerate to pregnant women and the elderly. Have you transferred her to another route? Or maybe she's left SBS. Whatever it is, please bring her back to Service 109, which I think is where she still is. So I think at the personal level, if you can get on and the relationships can be established, that's a tremendous help. Singaporeans too should do their part to understand and integrate in the new arrivals. Some of these activities, we do many of these activities. Some of them are more serious activities, like bringing the immigrants here. They are at the Army Museum. This is the People's Association doing national education, preparing the new generation of NSmen. And anxious parents behind. But some of these activities are more light-hearted. For example, this one. This is Singapore Shiok. It's a handbook produced by SMU, done by the students, in order to guide international students coming to Singapore. And this young man is an international student studying hard in Singapore. And the handbook tells them how to get along, what are all the acronyms we use, all the Singlish we use, and where their favorite eating places can be, so that they can settle in and become Singaporean. But individuals should also help new arrivals to ease into the community, because the key to this is not just your arguments and the principles and the logic, but the personal ties and the friendships. On the immigrant side, I think it's very helpful if the new citizens and their PRs can also make the effort to engage Singaporeans and to give back to Singapore society. And some of them are doing this. For example, in Sinda, there's a thing called Project READ, which is a program where volunteers adopt kids from disadvantaged homes and spend time with the kids, reading to them, mentoring them, helping them to make progress. And it's benefited over 4,000 kids, and the volunteers, half of them almost, are PRs and new citizens, including this one, who is Mrs. Mazumdar from India, who's now a Singapore citizen. So I think both sides have to make the effort. Growing roots takes time. You can't plant an instant tree and tomorrow expect it to have taken root. It takes time, but gradually the new arrivals will connect, identify with Singapore, and finally we hope some will make the decision to commit themselves and become Singapore citizens. For one new citizen family, the defining moment was when the daughters started to think of India as a place to go for holidays and Singapore as home. And then loyalties shifted. The third issue which Singaporeans worry about, and legitimately, is NS, tied up with loyalty and commitment. National service is a heavy demand on male residents, and I should say on their spouses and families too. 2 years full-time, then more years as OR NSmen, while all the time trying to build a career and raise a family. Unfortunately, it's not practical for us to make all the foreigners come to do NS. Firstly, you will not get the foreigners. Secondly, it will be Dad's army, and I would not like to be their platoon commander. But their children will serve. And many PRs who came here as children, many first-generation citizens, have done NS. But even then, there's still the sense among Singaporeans that citizens are carrying a heavy burden. So therefore, we do all that we can to recognize the contributions and the sacrifices of our NSmen. We've had record committees, one after another. Each time we've got new ideas, we've implemented them, SAFRA clubhouses, we've got allowances from the government, we've got tax reliefs, we've got top-ups when you have growth pack bonuses and packages and so on. Tonight, I would like to propose a new initiative, the National Service Recognition Award. What will it do? Two things. First, help with the cost of their subsequent education of NSmen. And secondly, also to help them to buy a house. What is this going to be? A meaningful sum. In total, $9,000 for soldiers, a little bit more for commanders. And we will pay this in tranches at major milestones of the NSman service. It will go into his post-secondary education account. It will go into his CPF accounts. And it is a significant, tangible recognition of the sacrifices and the efforts and the contributions of our national servicemen. It's for citizens only. The PRs who do national service, when they take citizenship later, they can get it too. And I think this will be a significant token of appreciation, and I don't want to go into all the details tonight. MINDEF will announce the details very soon. I hope it will be well received. Finally, there's an issue of crowding and congestion. Too many people in Singapore, there's not enough space, solitude. Will we have enough facilities for Singaporeans and foreigners? And where these are practical concerns, we can also do something about them. School places, I talked about in the Chinese speech just now, we will ensure enough school and university places, and we will upgrade our system so that everybody gets a good education, which I will talk about later on.